All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone has had a great 5/12 day across Central Texas. I know it's a great holiday to celebrate everything that is great about our city. And I know there are some events going on tonight, but you may want to watch this closely before you plan on going out anywhere. But first, we're going to see if y'all can hear me pretty well. And I'm going to say hi to some of you guys as y'all checking in a little bit. We got Hubert Binales from Kyle checking in. We've got Jennifer Tiniyuku, or I don't know how you pronounce that last name, but Round Rock. South Austin checking in, according to Mary, as well as Donna Bagwell Page. Michael Davila in North Austin. Alexis saying, hopefully no hail for Round Rock. We'll talk about the potential for hail as well. Florence Taylor checking in. We've got Roxy saying loud and clear, so looks like we're good on that end. Alma Nelly Reese Molina checking in, and Niedervald in the house, according to Ray Camden. Excuse me here. And we got Phoenix from Fayetteville out in Fayette County. Now, a little something about you guys, Phoenix, I'm going to talk about in a little bit, because Saturday's forecast has kind of shifted just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and let's get this party started. Well, let's get this informative session started with our flood watch. And it is in effect until from 7 o'clock tonight all the way until 8 tomorrow evening. Now, let me explain the caveat to this. It is definitely possible that this could be extended past Saturday evening. So all those late night outs at 6th and Rainy, if you live in a flood prone area, I would stay home if I were you, because we've got 3 to 6 inches of rain expected. This is based on the current forecast, and we could be looking at around 10 inches in 1 to 2 isolated pockets. So you're going to want to pay attention to this closely as we head throughout the course of tonight through the day tomorrow. And the whole KVUE Storm Team is going to be in tomorrow. We're going to be tracking all of this for you. Now, let me explain, and I'm going to take this part full here, because we do have an upper level low that's pretty much situated over portions of the high plains, portions of Kansas, portions of Colorado, bringing rain and storms to places like Denver and Loveland, Colorado. Now, I do want to explain that what that's doing is that's allowing a jet stream to form off to its south. And that jet stream, what it's doing is bringing in some moisture off of the Pacific Ocean. So about this track is what it's taking. Excuse me, let me redraw that. That did not go according to plan, but here we go. There you see it, right there. There's that line I just drew. That's that jet stream. It's going to bring in some of that moisture coming in from the Pacific. But as we zoom this forward, we also have moisture coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico. And what this creates is called a PWAT anomaly, or precipitable water anomaly. Usually they're around a half. They're mainly around 3/4. But this is through the roof. We're looking at more like 1.5 to 2 on the PWAT anomaly scale. And that's what creates a lot of that heavy rainfall. And that's what we're going to be dealing with over these next couple of days. And that's how we see some of that heavy rain. And let me see, hello, some of you guys. More of y'all are checking in as well. We've got Blanca Monreal in Georgetown, Irma Zapata in New Braunfels, Amy checking in from Lockhart. We got LaGrange, Thrall, Fairfield, Northwest Austin checking in. I live by Lakeline, so kind of Northwest Austin. Shiner checking in. Linda, we're going to be talking about Dripping Springs in a moment. So we'll get to you on that. But first, let's take a look at timing as we take a look at Tricia from Cedar Park. Hello. And we're going to take this back full here, or let me put myself on camera with the Futurecast. And it does show maybe a few scattered storms on your Friday afternoon. And then as we head into Friday night, that is when things start to go down here. This is one model, but this model is typically accurate in these situations. By the time we get to around 1 a.m. to 2, that's when that area of storms makes its way along the I-35 corridor. Now, not only could this be bringing some heavy rain, but we're also looking at the potential for hail and damaging winds, although the hail we do not expect to be as large. This isn't Jasmine Sullivan hail. This isn't bust the windows at your car type hail, but still hail nonetheless. However, flooding is really going to be our main concern because this could dump quite a bit of rain, especially over areas that really need it. Remember, the drought monitor came out yesterday. We have seen some improvements in the extreme and exceptional drought categories for you guys, but this should make an even bigger dent in that particular drought. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit of that heavy rainfall as we head through 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. out through the coastal plains. And then by the time we get to around 7 a.m., we could have another round, mainly in the mid-morning, probably around 9 a.m., could have another round of those storms. And then again, as we head through around 1, 2 o'clock, and then 3:30 to 4, another round move through, and then we start to try to dry out as we head to around 6 o'clock. Now, for today, though, this is for tonight, we're going to show you the flood outlook put out by the Weather Prediction Center. It has us in a slight risk, 2 out of 5. However, as you notice, a little bit of far western Mason County and far western Gillespie counties, they are under that 3 out of 4 moderate risk for excessive flooding. But let's flash forward to tomorrow. Now, this is different from yesterday's update. We're not looking at the hill country being under the moderate for the most part, but there are some sections of Blanco and Hayes that are under that moderate. That moderate now includes some of our southern counties. So Caldwell County, Bastrop County, Fayette County. So Phoenix, LaGrange, you're right in it. And maybe even far southwestern Lee County as well. And not to mention the Austin metro area in that moderate flood risk as well. Mainly looking at Saturday morning. But what the weather prediction is showing is that model data, and it's saying that with those added rounds we now expect on the latest forecast, this change was made. Now we're going to briefly show you how we're going to track water levels throughout the course of this weekend. These are live flood gauges at this moment. The greens represent that there is water flow, but there's no flooding in the moment. The grayish light blues, they show no water flow at this particular time. Now we expect that to change as this goes on, and they'll light up in all different colors depending on the stages of those rivers and creeks. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take this full to kind of show you it's not just the Austin Metro, but we do have the entirety of Central Texas involved as well. There isn't really any water flow near Buchanan Dam and Lake Buchanan, but again, that'll probably change as we head throughout the course of the day as well. Elizabeth is asking about the severe weather for Saturday. Severe weather, we are not looking at anything necessarily severe, although hail and stronger winds could be possible with a storm or two, especially early in the morning with that main line of storms. So, let's see who else has any more questions. Susan from East Austin checking in as well. But other than that, yes, we do have no flooding anywhere in Central Texas at the moment. However, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to this so that we're going to track this throughout the course of the weekend. Really nice tool we've built over the past couple of days to kind of show y'all how those river levels could be rising. Now, Austin FC, I know, has a home game on tomorrow. They're taking on a club in Frisco. That's going to remain nameless, but scattered showers still possible throughout the course of the match as well. So that pitch is going to have taken on quite a bit of water throughout the course of the day. So it's going to be quite slippery for those players as they head out on the pitch. But again, the flood threat right now through the day, Saturday, and maybe even into your Mother's Day is something that we are going to be watching and are paying attention to. Now we're looking at total rainfall totals. Again, we're looking at the bullseye being mainly over portions of the hill country in terms of our area. But overall, with this storm, a lot of the heaviest rain we expect to be south and west of the KVUE viewing area. So we're looking more at Kendall County, Kerr County, Bandera County, maybe even western sections of Bexar County as well. Those areas are most in line to have some of the heaviest sustained amounts. Now, that's not to say we won't have pockets of around 10 inches, 8 to 10 inches around the KVUE viewing area, especially in Blanco and Hayes counties, but we do expect quite a bit of heavy rain across central Texas, and it's just going to be a very, very soggy Mother's Day weekend. If you had plans outside, bring those inside, and if you had indoor plans, good weekend for Netflix or maybe even KVUE Plus. But anyways, as we take a look at these next 7 days, we are looking mainly at lower 80s for a high on Saturday, under that flood threat with around 70% during the day on Saturday. I have 90% overnight tonight into tomorrow. That's going to be our main area of storms. And then we get to those 20% ranges, those more isolated storms as we head through the lower to the beginning actually and middle portion of the week. So definitely want to take attention to what we are saying here at KVUE. We're going to be watching this throughout the course of the weekend. Now, I do want to make this point known, and I think this is going to be very important. The flooding that could be expected with this storm, we do not expect it to be on the same plane as the Memorial Day 2015 flood. And the reason we say that is because, yes, this is going to be quite a bit of rain, and there's going to be some runoff, and there's going to be a little bit of flooding possible, but we don't expect that to be as extensive as what happened 8 years ago, because at that point 8 years ago, we were already above average for the month of May by around 2 to 4 inches. This time, we are actually below average for the month of May, so that could somewhat mitigate the flood threat, but the flood threat still exists, and there still could be numerous reports of that as well. So stay weather aware, but we do not expect anything like what happened in 2015 in Wimberley and San Marcos. Oof. Anyways, the flood watch is in effect until from later on tonight through 8 o'clock tomorrow night, but that could be extended depending on how much rain we get during that time. Now let me go ahead and let me read some of your questions. Let's see, y'all got any questions? Already answered yours, Elizabeth, about Saturday, severe weather for Saturday. Elizabeth was trying to say tornado probably, but we don't expect any tornadoes. And Taylor, a tornado threat, I don't foresee any tornado threats on Saturday. I don't foresee that. We're looking at hail, gusty winds, flooding being the main threat though. We're not worrying about tornadoes, so don't expect us to actually cut in unless it's like a flash flood emergency or something like that, but I don't expect that. We don't expect what happened in 2015. So that's what I have with that. But again, we're going to watch everything for you. And if conditions warrant, we will cut in momentarily. Let's see, any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? Let's see. All right. Thunder in South Austin. Mary's asking about thunder in South Austin, but looking mainly in terms of thunderstorms late tonight and tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. That's your main threat right there. Let's see if we have any more questions. Doesn't look like we have any threats. Audrey, I'm sure you had the same question as Elizabeth. No tornado threat, but definitely flooding for sure. Maybe some hail and gusty winds with tonight's system, especially overnight. Mary, my pleasure. My pleasure, Mary. Now for Taylor, and let me answer that question, Mary Jane. Taylor, for both days, you're going to be under that slight 2 out of 4 flood risk. Now, y'all still could see some heavy rain, still a widespread 2 to 3 inches. There is a possibility you could get 4 to 5. There's an outside shot of that. But again, areas south and west of Austin have the best shot at some of the heaviest rainfall. So to answer your question, Mary Jane. Let's see. Any more questions? All right, if there are no more questions, we're going to go through everything one more time to kind of show you guys what we're going to be expecting over these next couple of days. And we're going to start with the flash flood watch, which is actually the flood watch, which is in effect from 7 o'clock tonight all the way through 8 tomorrow night, and could be extended because we could have 10 inches of rainfall in isolated spots, but we're looking at a widespread 3 to 6. Now we're going to show you once again, and I'm going to take this part full. We are going to be showing you that upper level low that's over portions of the high plains. And that's going to allow for some moisture to be pulled in from the Pacific across Baja California and northern Mexico, across Jalisco and other Mexican states as well. And that's going to allow for that one form of moisture to make its way into central Texas. That's mainly going to be in those upper levels of the atmosphere. But we've also got some Gulf moisture coming in as well. Those two systems are going to interact, and that's going to result in precipitable water anomalies being through the roof. We call that precipitable water the moisture that makes its way into central Texas. Precipitable water also means water that can fall as rain, and there's quite a bit of it in the atmosphere. And with that, it's going to allow for a really good storm chance, especially as we head through your Friday night. Now, Friday afternoon, some off and on scattered showers and thunderstorms. But then we're going to scroll through here. We're going to scroll through here slowly. And as we go through around 8 o'clock, we're going to still be dry most of the night. So if you're going out, I would go out early and then be in by around 11:30 midnight. But then that's when that line of storms makes its way through right there on your Saturday morning, right along I-35. Now, I do see a couple of hail cores in there, and hail is definitely a possibility, but we're not expecting the hail that we saw in Waco a couple years ago. This is not Jasmine Sullivan bust the windows out your car type hail, but still hail is possible nonetheless, along with gusty winds. But we don't expect any tornadoes with this, and flooding is what we're really concerned about here. And then around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's when we've got that heavy rain moving out of the coastal plains. But we've got another round of good steady rain by the time we get to 8, 9 a.m. And then we start to clear out a little bit maybe during the afternoon in terms of heavier rainfall. Could have a little bit of lighter rainfall during the day on Saturday, but we're just going to have rounds and rounds of rain throughout the course of the day on Saturday. So if you have any plans Saturday, make sure they're inside and not outside unless you're into that sort of thing. Unless you're into that sort of running outside in the rain, you know, just probably celebrating the fact that our drought could be pretty much busted by that point. But at the same time, we do have a flood threat. And again, and I'm going to put myself on for this, if you're driving around and you see a flooded road, for the love of all things holy, please do not drive through that. I mean, you don't know how deep that water is or if the road's even there to begin with. And trust me, you don't want to have to be caught in a flood water and have to swim out of your car into potentially disgusting water because you never know what could be in it. So you want to make sure that you are turning around and finding another way. And then as we head into today's flood risk, again, we are looking at a 3 out of 4 risk for portions of the hill country, extreme western Mason County, extreme western Gillespie County under that moderate risk, but a slight risk for pretty much everywhere else in the KVUE viewing area. I think an exception would be far eastern Fayette, far eastern Lee, far eastern Milam County for your Friday. Now for Saturday, pretty much everyone is at least in that slight risk for excessive rainfall, with the Austin Metro and points to the south, including Blanco, including Wimberley, including Dripping Springs, San Marcos, Kyle, Buda, out toward Luling, Lockhart in Caldwell County, Bastrop, Rosanke, Muldoon out in Fayette County, LaGrange as well, extreme southwestern sections of Lee. Wilco, you're only in that slight risk. You are not in that moderate risk if you're in Wilco. We're going to be tracking this for you. This is a look coming up right now of those creeks and the gauges currently what they're sitting at. And we're going to take this full so that y'all can see this a little more clearly. And we do not expect any super significant flooding, but there is no flooding being recorded. Those are those green dots, diamonds, and squares, and the grayish blue diamonds, dots, and squares. Those do not have any flow at the moment. However, it is possible that we could see a good bit of that changing, especially where we get to, and I'm going to circle these colors here to kind of show you what stage they would be in. We could be looking at, I'm thinking around a minor and a moderate flood stage for a lot of these creeks. Now, it is possible that some could get up to major flood stage, especially if areas within its tributary off to its west got some of those heaviest rainfall totals. So pay attention to KVUE. We're going to have the latest on which rivers and creeks you need to stay away from. Also, believe it or not, Austin FC is at home. We're playing the club in Frisco that shall remain nameless, and we could still see shower activity even throughout the course of that match as well, and that could make the pitch conditions feel a little interesting, especially after all the rain that the city will have taken on throughout the course of the day. 3 to 6 inches of rain widespread. This is what we're going to be expecting as we head throughout the course of the day tomorrow, and maybe even on into Mother's Day. And we'll have some scattered storm chances on your Monday before they taper off for the middle portion of next week. So very, very, very interesting to watch what we're talking about. Oh yes, April's saying charging my weather radio. Good. Make sure you're having multiple ways to receive warnings. That reminds me, we're not just on air, we're going to be online on KVUE.com, on the KVUE app, and KVUE Plus on your Fire Stick or Roku as well. And we are on as well. What is the website that we could check on for flooding roads and streams? In the immediate Austin area, go to atxfloods.com. Again, that's atxfloods.com if you plan on checking those flooded creeks, because a lot of those low water crossings are going to be closed. Like, let's be straight up about it. And also, the LCRA, the flood plan has not been put in action yet, but if it is, there could be some dam releases to help alleviate the potential for flooding. And all that water is going to empty possibly into Lake Travis. And the good thing about that is that Lake Travis is only at 45% of full pool, so we don't expect any flooding at all from Lake Travis, but that will drastically increase its lake levels, and that should really help with that particular situation, because I know a byproduct of that drought has been those lake levels, and we should see improvement on that front. Now let's see who else has a question. Justin asking about Pflugerville Round Rock. I would expect around 2-3 a.m. at that time for tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, 2-3 a.m. However, some of the heaviest rain will be just to your south. Austin Metro, as well as Places such as Bastrop, Luling, Lockhart, San Marcos, Wimberley, Kyle, Dripping Springs, and LaGrange out toward Muldoon, Rosanke as well, Bastrop. Those areas look to have the heaviest rainfall. They are under that moderate 3 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall. Now, the reason some of the coastal plains are in it, though, is because they've taken on quite a bit of the rain so far this month. They've had far more rain than their hill country counterparts. So I'm pretty sure the Weather Prediction Center took this into account when they made their outlooks for Friday and Saturday. But again, you definitely do not want to keep your guard down anywhere in the KVUE viewing area at this point. Who else? Going once, going twice. All right, if there are no more questions, I would like to take this moment and say thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live. We hope everyone has a great rest of your 5/12 day. Please stay safe and please take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.